It's now time for the Pony Cake Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
Hey there, everybody. We are back with another episode, and this time we are breaking down the wide receivers, the running backs. We were just talking about
Hot
Adam
start.
Thielen and Diggs.
Hot start.
We were talking about Thielen and
It's
Diggs.
week one. It's new.
Thielen and Diggs. Running backs for the week one in the fantasy world. So let's go ahead and talk about it, guys. How are we doing first?
Pretty good. Excited. We just finished quarterback episode. That was fun. Now getting into the meats and the potatoes of the NFL position group for fantasy football. It's exciting.
Hey, we just got done with the D. We're going to move down to the balls here. 2 running backs. Let's go. Knock it out.
Just an FYI, we, like Tom said, did the quarterback episode, running back episode here, wide receiver episode to follow, and then the tight end episode. But then from every week from here on out, it should be quarterback and running back together, then wide receiver and tight end together. So just an FYI.
Thanks for telling me. I didn't know that.
Just let's go ahead and start off with the rankings on fantasypros.com. We have number 1, Todd Gurley. Number 2, David Johnson. Number 3, Alvin Kamara. Number 4, Ezekiel Elliott. Number 5, Melvin Gordon.
You really have to like all 5 of these guys. All 5 of them have pretty good matchups. The only matchup I'm really not super excited about is Zeke's at Carolina. We'll see how many of the offensive linemen are in or out for the Dallas Cowboys. That's a big deal for him. But the other guys are all studs. If you got them, you're starting them.
Yeah, I think this is... I haven't agreed with a lot of what Fantasy Football Pros put out in the quarterback rankings. Some of these moving forward are a little bit suspect as well. But 1 through 5 here, I think are dead
Drunk
on.
over there?
No.
Knocking over microphones.
I think 1 through 5 are dead on. I think they have it perfect.
I don't mind it. David Johnson, I am okay with. Honestly, I'd probably flip-flop Alvin Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott. Again, I am just not super high on Kamara, even though they are playing Tampa Bay. Their front seven is still pretty good overall.
Especially if Vita plays.
Yeah, if Vita Vea plays, but their secondary is very suspect. That's why I think the quarterback play and the wide receiver play makes a lot more sense. But I would flip-flop those 2 around. Moving on, we have running backs number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Fournette, McCaffrey, Hunt, Bell, and Barkley. Would we be crazy to put in James Conner instead of Le'Veon Bell?
I don't think Connor should be in the top 10,
No.
but I believe he should be somewhere inside the top 24, and Bell should be completely out. It might be a little brash saying that, but I just don't think he's playing week 1.
This is where they're doing a disservice. I mean, we saw Bell when he came in last year, week 1, after missing the whole preseason. He struggled a bit. Even if he comes back on Wednesday at practice, I mean, how much is he actually going to play? It's against the Browns. They don't care. They're going to be able to handle the Browns more than likely. And what best case scenario for Le'Veon Bell if he comes back this late? 10 carries, maybe. I just don't see it. I agree. You keep him out of your top 24. He's not a 1 or 2 back at this point. And someone like Fantasy Pro should know better than this, especially when you have someone outside of your top 10 like a Joe Mixon sitting there against the Indianapolis Colts, who are not that proven yet. And Joe Mixon has been essentially named the bell cow there. Let him prove himself. Let him be the number 10 there, or number 9, whatever you want to do. I don't care. And Saquon Barkley at 10 at Jacksonville, that's fair. It's a tough defense. I like everything else out front. McCaffrey, Hunt, and who's the other one? Gordon? No, Gordon was 5.
Fournette. I'm not a big fan of Hunt on this list, and obviously we're talking PPR, so McCaffrey, this is where he belongs, but if you're in standard, I wouldn't be too keen on McCaffrey this year, in all honesty. I'm worried about that offensive line, but I think that crappy offensive line will probably help him in PPR leagues because he's probably going to get a lot more usage and a short receiving game, which is a big-time value for him.
I want to go back to, you guys had a bet at some point last year about how many balls McCaffrey would catch. I don't remember exactly what the bet was.
I don't know if it was a bet, but I'm pretty sure we were both in favor that he was going to get over 65 or 70 receptions.
Josh had a obnoxiously huge number.
I don't think so.
You were a little bit more down to earth. It's all right. I'll have to go back and listen.
I think we were more accurate than most people on that.
No, I'm saying you guys were both right. You guys were both right there. I'm just interested to see kind of where he plays out again this year and how many catches he gets. Because I agree with you completely. I think his receptions will go up.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and research one of those episodes out of the 333 that we have and figure that out. Hopefully we can narrow that down.
We'll put Justin on that.
Moving on, running back number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Dalvin Cook against the Niners. Joe Mixon against the Colts. Devonta Freeman against the Eagles. LaShawn McCoy against the Ravens. And Alex Collins against the Bills.
Devonta Freeman has been a notoriously slow starter in the NFL. Watch him this week. Cook, Mixon, big fans of them. And Collins, he should be in your top 10 this week. They should be in positive game script most of that game against the Buffalo Bills with Nathan Peterman being the opposing quarterback. Alex Collins should get over 20-plus touches and hopefully a couple tutties.
I agree completely. My only concerns here are LaShawn McCoy. How is exactly is he going to be used with his age? How do the Bills see this game going when it gets out of hand? What are they going to do with him? Yeah. How long are they going to keep him in the game? I think they might just try to, cut their losses at some point here. You might see him out in mid-third quarter, in all honesty. And then who are the Freeman, a little bit scary going up against that Philadelphia defense. But I still think right around 13, that's a safe play.
Number 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Jordan Howard against the Packers. Lamar Miller against the Patriots. Kenyon Drake versus the Titans. Rex Burkhead against the Texans. And Dion Lewis against the Dolphins.
Tim's probably least favorite of these guys, probably my favorite, and that's Jordan Howard. We're completely opposite on him. But I like him this week. I'm not too scared of that Green Bay defense. They were pretty good against the run last year, one of the better units, but I think the Bears are going to be in this football game, which means Jordan Howard's going to be on the field a lot. That defense should keep things close, and I like Jordan Howard a lot this week, and I'm starting him in all formats.
I think that the Bears are going to be one of those teams this year where they just keep trying to switch it out. You've seen Howard just pretty much religiously just get the ball to run the ball down the opposing team's throats. I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see a balance in terms of running back. You're going to see Tariq Cohen. Hell, you might see Benny Cunningham at times. You might see a different looks from the Bears, especially against the Packers. Matt Nagy wants this game. New head coach. He's going to pull out all the stops here early in terms of the offense. So, not my least favorite. My least favorite is someone who I've been down on quite a bit is Dion Lewis. A guy right at 21 should definitely be above him. Royce Freeman. I think Royce Freeman should be even in the top 15 potentially. Don't really understand that. I like Kenyon Drake, and I also like Lamar Miller against that Patriots defense. I think he's a little bit low on this list.
21-25, that was Royce Freeman against the Seattle Seahawks. Again, the Seattle Seahawks are without a lot of starters compared to who they had from last year. Jay Ajayi at the Falcons, Jamal Williams at the Bears, Derrick Henry, who quote-unquote is the starter over Dion Lewis, at 24, and Dion Lewis is at 20 against the Dolphins, and then Duke Johnson at 25.
Out of this group, Tim Hughes brought him up, Royce Freeman. I think a lot of people that were ranking might have turned him in a little early because he was labeled the starter, I believe it was on Tuesday. Before that, Devontae Booker was. Freeman's going to get a majority of the work. They're going to give him every opportunity to be the bell cow running back. Should be positive game flow. They will be at home. They normally dominate teams that come to Denver early in the season. I think that's going to happen. Big week for Freeman.
Yeah, nope. I just think the Freeman-Booker comparisons reminds me a little bit of Latavius Murray and Delvin Cook going into last year. Obviously, Delvin Cook ended up getting hurt and didn't play out that way, but if Freeman can stay healthy, I see him just totally dominating this backfield. He's going to look very, very good. In terms of Derrick Henry, listen, I get Dion Lewis, I get what he does, but against Miami, the game should be close. It's not going to be a ton of passing. They'll still have it. Dion Lewis is still going to get his, but when it comes to red zone play, I feel like Derrick Henry's going to get his chance to score 1-2 touchdowns, and that's going to be the difference.
That's one of the bigger storylines, I think, in all fantasy football is Dion Lewis. Derrick Henry this week, you just said the game's going to be close, which should be – this is what you should expect on most weeks when the game's going in the right direction. So, it seems like a lot of the experts think Dion's the guy.
New Bengals. They're Gio Bernard and
Jeremy Hill.
thank you, Jeremy Hill. 25, Duke Johnson. You know, what is he? I know they said he's the pass catching back. Whatever. Carlos Hyde has come out this preseason and proven himself as the guy. He constantly, he's been shit on by us. He's been shit on by his old team, and he just constantly goes out there and does his thing. Does Duke Johnson still have his role? That's the question.
Real quick, 26-35. Carlos Hyde, Tariq Cohen, Marshawn Lynch, Chris Thompson, Tevin Coleman, Peyton Barber, James White, Chris Carson, Ty Montgomery, and Kerryon Johnson.
My favorite here is definitely Chris Thompson. Jay Gruden came out, said that he is looking great. He's full speed ahead, ready to go. No holding him back. He's the guy there in Washington. I know there's other pieces there. AP's there now. Who knows what he's going to bring to the table. But Chris Thompson is the comfort zone. And I feel like a Chris Thompson-Alex Smith pairing is a match made in heaven. I think those two are going to work very, very well together. And I fully expect for Chris Thompson to outperform this spot.
Out of that group, I'm taking the cheesy route. I'm going to go with number 26, the highest guy on the list, Carlos Hyde. I feel like the game flow is going to work well for his favor and Cleveland's favor in general. Him and Tyrod Taylor are going to be running the football and trying to run the football down the Pittsburgh Steelers' throats. And without Ryan Shazier, that rush defense in Pittsburgh struggled last season.
I'm going to go with number 32 on the list, and that's James White.
There you go.
I like him a lot this year. Somebody had him as high as 13 on this list. Somebody had him as low as 51. I think that's a little insulting. But I don't think Sony Michel is going to be 100% ready to go. And it's kind of weird. We've seen James White in the second preseason game caught like 6 passes.
Yeah.
And then in the third preseason game, he caught 1 pass or 2 passes. So it's going to be a tail of the tape. What James White are we going to get? What kind of offensive scheme are they going to do? Are they going to have Jeremy Hill run the ball, get 3 touchdowns like Mike Gillislee did last year? Or are they going to do the check down route, which is what I'm hoping and what I'm thinking that they're going to do. So James White is a play for me this week. If you're looking for a flex play or a really hurting at running back and needs somebody to plug in a running back too.
I got one more. That's going to be my sleeper pick of the week. It's Kerryon Johnson. 6 o'clock Monday night game against the New York Jets. Lions are at home. The Lions should have this game in hand pretty early if they're as good as they think they are. The Jets are going to be passing because they're down, and the Detroit Lions are going to be running. They're going to find out right now with Matt Patricia, is Kerryon Johnson the guy that they drafted him to be? Are they going to be able to go when they're up, run him between the tackles, and see if he can run out the clock? Is he that guy? Look, mid-third quarter to into the fourth quarter, just him getting handoff after handoff after handoff, 15 to 20 carries for Kerryon Johnson. Let's see what he can do with it.
All right, say that you are deciding between 2 running backs, such as we'll go with a Devonta Freeman, because you did bring up, Tom, that he does struggle with the first week, and Jordan Howard. What are your thoughts?
Jordan Howard all day.
Yeah, it's hard for me. Listen, Devonta Freeman's going up against a stud defense, so it's hard to pick him. But still, at the end of the day, even with Tevin Coleman there, if it comes to who my benching as my running back too, I'm benching Jordan Howard and I'm playing Devonta Freeman.
Let's say you have Alex Collins. You drafted him a little bit later in drafts, and you got, let's say, Derrick Henry pretty late. What are your thoughts on those matchups?
Alex Collins, I think, clear-cut number 1 guy. On the other hand, with Derrick Henry, he's not the clear-cut number 1 guy. It's just a risk, and that's kind of why I punted from that Tennessee backfield all draft season. I don't own any shares.
Tom, I mean, I'm much higher on Derrick Henry than both of you guys. But Alex Collins this week against Buffalo, it's a no-brainer. They should be up. It should be Joe Flacco handing him off the football and just running wild at home in Baltimore. He should have over 100 yards rushing and potentially a couple touchdowns.
Chris Thompson or Duke Johnson?
Give me Chris Thompson. I think the game flow will be better for him in Washington. I think they're going to be down in that football game. Duke Johnson, I think that game's going to be super close, which means his snap count might be down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I talked Chris Thompson up quite a bit here earlier. I'm gonna do it again against Arizona. I mean, I get they're going across the country, but Chris Thompson's the guy, and him and Alex Smith, match made in heaven.
Who should be higher on this list? Who is your best fantasy play of the week? Who's going to score the most points is what I should say. And who is the biggest bust?
Most fantasy points for the week for me will be Mr. David Johnson. I like the matchup against Washington. They have struggled attempting to stop the run. I think that's going to continue. Him and his PPR threat is probably, in my opinion, the best receiving running back in football right now. That might be changing with Saquon entering. Biggest bust, I think, will be Kareem Hunt.
I hope Tom's right because I have David Johnson in our keepers league. But I like Melvin Gordon this week. Kansas City's defense isn't what it used to be. I think Melvin Gordon has the opportunity to go out there. If the defense is able to just shut down that young quarterback and Patrick Mahomes, make him throw the ball. They could be up by a couple touchdowns mid third quarter, early fourth quarter, and Melvin Gordon's going to have the opportunity to run the ball. Too low on this list. You said that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, too low on this list is Royce Freeman, 21. Just feel like it's way too low against that Seattle defense that is hot garbage at the moment, and I think that Royce Freeman has a big opportunity to be a top 12 running back this week.
Just remember, everybody, we were the podcast, or one of the podcasts. I'm going to say
podcast.
the podcast that did say that Royce Freeman was going to be the starter for the Denver Broncos by the beginning of the season. So just an FYI. Anything else, guys?
That's probably all I got. One more thing. Just pay attention to that Colts backfield right now. They're saying, I don't think Marlon Mack's practiced yet, so Jordan Wilkins might be getting a look. If he's on your waiver wire, go get him. If he has a big week, he might take over.
Is James Conner a must-start if Le'Veon Bell?
Yes.
Yeah.
In that offense, we saw D'Angelo Williams do it a couple years back.
That's where I was going, Josh. That's my guy who shouldn't be where he is on this list, and you should either be playing James Conner, and if you don't have James Conner, then playing someone else, playing a Kenyon Drake in place of a Le'Veon Bell, whoever.
All right, that's all we have for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow us on Twitter at PonyKegSports, at FightTalkTim, at Pony_Keg_Tom, and go to our website, PonyKegSports.com. Email us, PonyKegSports@gmail.com. And until next time.